What is the scaling up process after finding a consistent edge? So I'm just going to define consistent edge as this. Were you profitable in the previous 30 trades? Question mark. If yes, cool. Then we've got a consistent edge. If no, then don't have a consistent edge. This is not the best definition of consistent edge, but we're just going to work with this because this is a really simple approach to scaling up. So was I EV positive in the previous 30 trades? If yes, then scale up. I'm just going to improve my handwriting there a little bit. Then scale up. And this is how it can look like. So let's pretend that you start on a $1,000 account and you're risking 1% per trade. So you're only risking $10 per trade. Then you trade for a month or so. You've collected about 30-ish trades. You look back on the previous 30 and you were, in fact, EV positive. Awesome. Scale up. So we go from a $1,000 account to a $2,000 account. You take another 30 trades, but on that batch of 30, you actually were not profitable. So, okay, stay on 2,000. You take a bunch more trades, and again, you look at the previous 30, you were profitable. So, scale up again. And from 2 you might go to 5. So the scaling up plan, I usually like to go in increments where I would double the size. So I'd go from like 1K, just to keep things simple, 1K, 2K, 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50. And let's pretend this is in thousands, right? So you start with a 1K account, you're profitable over the previous 30 trades. Awesome. You jump up to 2 and you stay on 2 until again you meet this condition. As soon as you meet the condition, you scale up to 5, and again you stay at 5 until you meet the condition again. So you may notice that yes, with this approach, you're going to have to take quite a lot of trades before you scale all the way up to 50K. But on the bright side, by the time you get to 50K, you're going to have a lot more confidence and so much more data to look back on, such that you'll be able to execute trades with like a much higher degree of confidence, right? Because if you only take 30 trades with a strategy, you were profitable over the previous 30, and you say, oh, cool, I'm going to jump from 1 to 50. Well, you could have just been unlucky in this. You might have just been unusually lucky during that first 30 trades that you powered through. So when you jump up to your full portfolio size, you could just be punting and burning through cash. Not fun. But if you've proved that you are EV positive over the previous 30 trades, you might not have nailed it literally perfectly on every single scale up, but you nailed it here. You scaled up, you scaled up, you scaled up. And generally speaking, as time passes, if you continue to scale up, you can have a lot higher degree of confidence that yes, you do in fact have some kind of an edge. So yeah, by the time you get to 50, things are going to feel a lot smoother. The other thing that I like with this specific approach is I found that shortly after scaling up, I get a little bit antsy and a little bit more jumpy when I'm trying to execute the next like 3, 4, maybe 5 trades. And I'm a lot more likely to make some kind of psychological error or some kind of silly mistake in those first 3, 4, or 5 trades after scaling up, because I'm trying to get used to the new size, right? It's like if you're so used to, let's say you get stopped out on a trade and you're used to being stopped out and seeing minus 500. When you scale up to the next size, let's say 100K, and then price is slightly over, like slightly more than half of the distance to your stop loss, and you see like minus 621, and it's nowhere near your stop loss. It can, like, a lot of feelings like, oh my god, like I'm not used to this. Like this number can be even more, like I haven't seen that number before. Or like when you see the first like minus 1000 on a trade and you've not seen this before, it can feel quite jarring for the very first time. So yeah, I feel like just taking this like one step at a time, it just makes everything feel like psychologically a lot smoother. So like scaling up feels smoother, executing trades feels smoother, taking your first like bigger loss than normal, it doesn't sting as much. Also, taking your first bigger win than normal, it's not like as euphoric as well. Just like everything just feels a lot more smoother. But yeah, in simple terms, uh, scale up in these small little increments, like double this, like start really low. At least this is, do whatever you want. This is just like my recommendation or how I would do it. Start really low and then just gradually up your size as your own data starts to confirm that whatever you were doing is working.